Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and in today's video we're going to talk about how you should begin to build up your performance bagger. Specifically the process, like how do I start and where should I end? My approach when I'm building up a performance bagger or a performance motorcycle is the following. The first thing I work on is the engine, the power plant, and everything that's involved with that. The second thing is tires, brakes, suspension. Third is your ergonomics overall. And the fourth, last and not needed in my opinion, is the paint job. Throughout the years of me putting these performance baggers together, a lot of people have asked me, hey, what do you do first when you're building up your motorcycle to make it into that performance bagger category, you know? And I always tell them, hey, it kind of depends what you want to do with your motorcycle, but they ask me that simply because they either have their current motorcycle they're trying to build up, or they're trying to upgrade to a new motorcycle and build that one up to be a little bit faster. And that brings us to today's video. I have built up 3 performance baggers. One of them's not here. I had the Mako Shark CVO. That sold, so that's no longer with us. It's with a new happy owner. And the first one that I put together was this Harley-Davidson Road Glide. It has a 131 cubic inch engine with a turbo pushing 230 wheel horsepower at 15 pounds of boost, carbon fiber wheels. I have a ton of videos on it, so go reference my YouTube video on it, but it has been a knockout. And then I put this one here in the front because it's my newest and latest performance bagger build. It is a 2023.5 CVO. It was in the platinum gray. And now it has, it's the only thing that's stock on this engine is the electrical system and the sound system. That's pretty much it, and probably the floorboards, but everything else has been upgraded. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I work on the engine first. In this case, I have a 153 cubic inch engine that was put together by George over All American Cycle, and I'm pushing 200 rear wheel horsepower along with 178 foot-pounds of torque at the wheel. That is a lot of power for a naturally aspirated engine, in my opinion. Now, I will say that approach that I just told you is not the only sequence that's out there and that is available to you all. A lot of people tell you, hey, work on your suspension first, get it tuned to the rider, and that in itself will make your motorcycle more responsive, faster, and a little bit quicker because you have better suspension and you get more power down to the ground. And I will tell you that is a good approach too. There's nothing wrong with it. I think it's an excellent approach. But for me, in my opinion, since I like to have my motorcycles right at that line between race bike and street bike, I've always had the engine built out first. Once I kind of know how it is, and once I sit on the bike and once I feel what that power feels like, then I go with then I upgrade the suspension. But I've always been like that, whether it's a car, motorcycle, side-by-side, jet ski, whatever it is, boat. But it's always been in my approach. And then once I have this engine and powertrain and chain drive or belt, if you stay belt, then once I have a feel for it, I upgrade the suspension and then get that dialed in as best as I can for the build that I have. In this case, I have Olin's front and rear, and John over at J&B Cycle Works, he's the one that did all my tires, my wheels, suspension. We swapped out the inners of this inverted fork, DLC tubes, black covered DLC cover tubes, and it rides like it's on rails. It doesn't wobble at any speed, and it's been great. So that's the thing about, that's the reason also, another reason why I work on upgrading my suspension after my engine, because, you know, dyno numbers are great, but once you're on that road and you're at high speeds and you're going, and, you know, there's a little bit of wobble or something, you have to fine tune the suspension. That's why I say I do my suspension after I do my engine, but that's me coming from a performance aspect. And the third thing I focus on after I do the engine and tires, wheel, suspension are my ergonomics. Now, what do I mean by my ergonomics? I'm talking about the seat here. Bad Boy Cycles is awesome. I'm talking about my T-risers here from R&S, and I'm talking about my floorboards. So you get 3 points of contact. To me, I want to be comfortable on these motorcycles because although they're right on the line between a race bike and a street bike, 90% of the time I'm on the road having a good time, and that 10%, you know, I'm having some fun on the streets, and I'll just leave it at that. And I want to be comfortable when I'm doing either, right? So you want to consider if you want T-bars. Personally, I love T-bars, I love risers. I think it makes your motorcycle experience a lot more reliable. I mean, I don't want to say reliable, a lot more enjoyable is what I meant to say. It's more responsive, and it just fits me better. And then I go to the seat. Do you want a seat that you kind of sit up on the motorcycle, or do you want a seat that you're kind of dipped into the motorcycle? So it kind of depends on you know, your height, your weight, and you know, how you feel about that. And of course, your floorboards. Which floorboards are best suited for you and your riding style? Now, the last thing on my list, and again, I don't think it's needed, it is your paint job. You know, do you want a very nice, elaborate, or simple paint job? Do you want to stick out from the crowd? Personally, it's always nice when I park my motorcycle and it's easy to identify in a sea of motorcycles. I'm like, oh, that candy flake red one is mine, and I just go to it along with these red wheels, you know. So again, it's not needed. This is the first one that I've ever had painted. That one has a paint set from Avon Black, so it came like that, so anybody can get that one over there on my turbo bike. But this one is custom painted by Jace at the Fast Life Garage. And it turned out great with their silver leaf. And again, I got a ton of videos on this motorcycle, so if this is the first time you're watching the channel, go check out those videos. But yeah, I'm really happy with the paint job, the look. And then, you know, another thing that I want to mention is it depends if you want a performance show bike or a performance road bike. And I think that there's a difference, right? So for example, you know, for me, this is like a performance bagger, but it's a performance road bike. It's meant to, you know, put down some miles and race and really just have fun while we're still on this beautiful earth, right? And don't get me wrong, it's won a few trophies. It won Best Paint over at Sturgis this year from the V-Twin Vision Air Show, and over at COTA, also from V-Twin Vision Air Show, it won the Best Road Glide. So, you know, but I call it a road bike because a road performance bagger bike, I should say, simply because it's not a frame up build. So what do I mean by a frame up build? There's a lot of people that take every single thing off their motorcycle to the bare frame, through the bare metal, get rid of that paint and get it powder coated a specific color, or painted, or engraved, and then powder coated or painted, or all of the above. And there's nothing wrong with that. Personally, I think it's great. I was going to do that with this one, but man, I just don't think it's worth it for me, since it's like I'm on the road with this. It's going to be rained on and stuff, and having a paint chip on the paint is one thing, but having a paint chip on the frame, you like, it's tough, right? And I picture, like, throughout the years, at least if it stays black, you can put a Sharpie on there or some paint and cover the marks up from the road damage. But nonetheless, you know, I will say that because I've seen some beautiful performance baggers that are all done up. They'll chrome the frame, they'll do whatever, and I think those are beautiful. Are they written? I'm sure they're written back and forth, but to me, those seem more like a show performance bike versus a street road performance bike. And I think that's just my personal opinion, you know, to each their own. But you know, those people ride those motorcycles as well, but very selective. It just seems, and again, I could be totally wrong, but for me, since these are purposely built to be right on the line between race and street, I'm not going to do a frame up build. I might later on, but honestly, for me, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. In terms of, you know, winning some awards at the bike shows, it's cool and everything, and it's nice, but I'm not that guy. I don't think I'll be put this motorcycle into another bike show moving forward, unless, of course, there's good parking and I'm gonna be in the area. But I don't think I'll be putting in shows. But anyways, so that's the last thing, the fourth and last thing that I consider. Do I want to paint it? And there's another reason why I'm telling you all of this. It's because, as I mentioned earlier, I don't have my CVO Mango because I sold it. So I have two motorcycles, but I actually bought one, and it's getting worked on out of state. If you guys follow me on the socials, you know which one it is, but I have very nice, enjoyable plans for that motorcycle. And I think it's a different category, but a good category to move forward from these bagger builds. So let me know if you agree, if that's a good kind of sequence or not. Again, there's no right or wrong way to go about it. You can do anything else. For example, right, like that's my sequence, but the first shop I took this bike to is considered my fourth step, which was the paint. I took it to Jace first, and then from there I went to get the suspension and tires and wheels done, and then from there the last thing I did was the engine. So I did it all backwards, but in my mind, how I planned it out and called and had things taken care of, that's the sequence that I went to. So I only did that because that was better for my schedule and availability and those shops' schedule and availability. So you also have to account that. So that's what I do first, but it's obviously not the sequence I follow first as well. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt, but that's my experience. I hope you enjoyed this video. I wish you all and your families a very happy 2026. I hope you all had a good Christmas. And in closing, as I always say, you know, just be nice to each other, be courteous, you know, we only have one life to live. And if you haven't had a chance to yet, go to your local food bank or your church, donate some food or some time if you can. If not, no problem. And or definitely to your blood bank, because there's a lot of people that need, you know, good biker, strong, fresh blood. So anyways, you guys be good. I'll see you next year.